Hello, everyone. On this podcast episode, I'm going to talk about hell and the illusion of happiness. Many people, in life, they tell you that, sell your soul to the devil, rich people are happier, X or Y happier, if you just make money, you'll be happier. If you just make money, you'll be happier. That what do you call it? Propaganda that if you just make money, you'll be happier is the reason why there's so many people, stealing, robbing, tricking, scamming people, because they automatically assume that, happiness comes from money. They don't realize that happiness is not something you can gain from money. Happiness is something you gain from being a good person, you know. Being rich does not automatically make you happy. Money itself does not make you happy. It's just an item. There are no items in this world that can truly influence you. When you're depressed, when you're suffering, you can eat the sweetest meal in this world, and it still tastes bitter in your mouth. Haven't you heard the what do you call it? The phenomenon where if when someone's sick, the normal food that they love eating no longer tastes good. That's how life works. You hear about Hollywood actors and people selling their soul to the devil, to gain all the wealth and happiness. You see people, in the world looking happy with money. It's an illusion. The people who are happy are people who are good, kind, you know, could be kind, good people are happy. Evil people are never happy in this world. It is just a basic fact. If your life is filled with depression and sorrow, just know that you're doing something wrong in life. That's the clearest warning that you're going to hell. There's no happiness in hell. It's a basic fact. So if you're suffering in life, that's a sign you're going towards hell. When you die, you're going to hell. If your life is filled with sorrow, it's not a sign that you're going to heaven. God would not reward you for being an evil person. God would not reward you for being a villain. Villains, look at stories. Almost every story you read, the villains are never happy. They can never find happiness. So if you live your life, behaving like a villain, killing, stealing, robbing, doing whatever criminal activity you can find, scamming others, guess what? There's no heaven where you're going towards. There's no happiness, towards the future you're going. Your life will be filled with anxiety and stress. Anxiety from not, if you get away with the crime, right? If you get away with your bad behavior, your evil mindset, there'll always be the anxiety that, today could be the day when you get caught. Today could be the day where you die. Today could be the day where all things go, all the bad choices you make in life that, you thought you got away with it. Today's the day, it all comes down at you. Today's the day where everything goes wrong. Your life will be filled with stress and anxiety, that worrying that today's the day. If you're a thief, you'll never spend a single day enjoying that money, because the rest of your life you'll be spending worrying that today's the day that, someone will come, and find out the truth that I stole from someone. Today's the day that, people find out that I'm a scammer. Today's that day. Your life will be filled with stress and anxiety just from that alone. If you're a scammer, you never find a single day enjoying that money, because the entire time you'll be worrying that today's the day I get caught. Is this the day, the cops come to my doorstep? Have they found me yet? Do they know that I'm the one who did it? That will be the rest of your life. You spend the rest of your life miserable just for one day of stealing. How can you ever be happy when you're always stressed out that today's the day that I get caught? Today's the day the cops show up to my doorstep. Today's the day, that person that I abused years ago comes back to haunt me. Today's that day. You will never find happiness doing evil deeds. There's no happiness in hell. There's no joy in hell. There's no peace in hell. Love, companionship, friendship, All the good things in life do not exist in hell. Only the bad things in life exist in hell. So if you're living a life right now that's filled with sorrow, anxiety, stress, it means you're doing a lot of evil deeds. It means you're sinning a lot. That's your biggest wake-up call. It's a red flag. Depression is a red flag that you need to change yourself. You need to change your life. You need to change your choices. You need to make better choices in life. Do not think that just because you have money, you automatically be happy. There's a brick wall coming down your path. The brick wall is the emotional damage caused by all your bad choices in life. There are many, all the people that look happy on camera may not be that happy. The road to hell looks beautiful, but it's filled with stress and anxiety. The road to hell looks, enticing. When you see someone, rich, experiencing, all the high life of life, you automatically want that life, don't you? You automatically want to be like the rich person whose life is filled with bliss. You see them on social media flaunting all their wealth. You see them enjoying their life. It looks happy, doesn't it? It makes you want to rob and steal for it, doesn't it? Guess what? If you rob and steal for money, you will never experience a single day of happiness in life. You will get the equal and opposite of what that person has. Your life will be more miserable than that person. Even if you're richer than him, your life will be worse than their life. That person could be living in happiness, but the reason why he's happy is because he made his money honestly. He made his money honestly. He doesn't have to fear that someone can come and steal his money from him. He doesn't have to, be afraid that the government will come back and take this money from him, because he stole that money a few years ago, or he scammed people out of that money, or he's a shady businessman, and his customers could come back and try to rid the money from his cold dead hands. He doesn't have to worry about all those things that comes with money. If you get your money, through honest means, you'll be happy with the money. If you get your money through manipulative and evil means, not a single day of happiness will come to you. Not a single day of happiness will come to you. You will never experience heaven because there's no happiness in hell. If you do a lot of evil deeds, you go to hell. If you do a lot of evil deeds, you only experience hell. No matter how much money you make, if you make that money, through corruption, through evil and manipulative ways, the only experience you will experience with that money is depression, anxiety, and stress. You will not find a single day of happiness with that money. And that's how life works. God does not reward you. This world does not reward you for for being an evil person. If you punch a child for no reason, you will not be rewarded with happiness. The parents will come. If the parents ever find out, you punched their child, now your life could be at risk. They could come and kill you. They could get you arrested. They could beat the living daylights out of you. And after you punch that child, even if no one's around, you punched that child. For the rest of your life, you'll be worried that that child would tell their parents. And that stress of the worry that the child will tell their parents will cause you to feel anxious, stressed for the rest of your life. You may end up suffer from depression because of the fear that if that child ever tells their parents that you punched them for no reason, you lose. They may never be your friends ever again. The parents of that child could beat the living daylights out of you anytime in the future. The moment they find out you punched your child for no reason, even if you got away with it, in the future your life will be miserable because now you have to be worrying about if the parents ever find out that I punched their child, they will definitely come back for revenge. That will that will be what you experience for the rest of your life. One act of evil will plague you for the rest of your life. Just one act. That's how life works. Your life will be miserable for the rest of your life. You'll be miserable for the rest of your life if you don't change the way you behave. If you don't change your mindset that you want something by hook or crook, your life will be miserable. If you try to get something through evil and wicked means, you will never experience a day of joy in life. If you try to get something through manipulation, through trickery, you will never experience a day of joy with the thing you get. Your life will always be miserable. If you like, if you want to get friends, make real friends. Do not pretend to be a friend with someone. That's evil. It's evil to be pretentious. Pretending to be a friend with someone just because you don't want to be in a relationship, you don't want to be seen as a single person. That's an evil mindset. The person you're getting into a relationship with, only wants to get into a relationship with you because they thought, the person is thinking that, you like them. If you don't like them, why are you pretending to like them? People hate fake friends for a reason. It is evil to trick someone into a relationship when you don't like them. It's evil, and your life will be ruined just from that alone. It's evil to pretend you like someone when you don't like them. It is evil. If you can't be an honest person, your life will be miserable. And that's how life works. If you can't be an honest person who, knows when they're making, bad choices and they admit it, I made a bad choice, I'm sorry. It's my fault, I made a bad choice, I'm sorry. If you're the type of person that likes sweeping their bad choices under the rug, your life will be miserable. Because, those bad choices that you're hiding from will become the elephant in the room. It will plague your consciousness, it will plague your mind for the rest of your life. Until you're the most depressed person in the world who's always running away from all their problems. You're always trying to hide from all the problems, in your life, The abusive boyfriend, you're hiding away from him. You don't want everyone to, people tell you, you're in an abusive relationship, and you try to hide it, you try to deny it. Well, guess what? That's the elephant in your room, and that elephant will get bigger and bigger and bigger until it consumes your life. That's how life works. If someone tells you you're in a bad job, or you know that you're in a bad job, and you just want to hide it because, hey, I make a lot of money, I make enough money. Guess what? Pretending you like the job you're in is also evil. Pretending you like something you don't like is evil. Be an honest person before you end up killing everyone in that job. You can only pretend for so long until the elephant gets too big. Your stress and anxiety gets too big to the point where you just blank out and just go on a murderous rampage. It's only a matter of time before all that stress and anxiety reaches a boiling point, and you just flip out on everyone around you. You flip out on your spouse. You flip out on your fake friends. You flip out on your bosses or your coworkers. You just flip out, and that's how life works. Human beings cannot stay in depression for long before they start getting sick. So your body does not want you to be, in a depressed state for long. You have to find a way out of it. If you keep making bad choices in life, your life will just keep getting worse. And the more your life gets worse, the more your body will keep trying to fight for a way out. You'll keep trying to fight for a way out. If your body can't get out, if your mind and your body can't get out of, the stressful situations that you're in, peacefully, they'll use violence. This is why people just, go out of the way, just start killing, their spouses and family members. Parents just out of nowhere just start killing all their family members out of, you always see it on the news, right? Where, this person just flips out and just kills the whole family members. It's because they keep making bad choices. They keep pretending to like people they don't like. Stay away. If you don't like someone, stay away from them. Stay away from them. You will never like them in the future. Chances are they will never change. If you don't like someone, that's a sign. You guys are not physically compatible, mentally compatible in any way, shape, or form. If you keep pretending to like someone you don't like, your life will just keep getting worse until you become that person that killed his family members. That person that killed his best friend. That will be you in the future. If you don't change, when the signs are telling you, the depression, the anxiety, the stress, all these signs are telling you that you need to change. If you don't change, things will only get worse from here. You're going towards hell. You're not going towards heaven. All these, mental stress will cause you to sin even more. Will make it harder and harder for you to get out of the stressful situation that you're in. God does not want you to be in that, evil evil mindset of pretension, of pretentiousness. Satan is the fakest person in the world. It's filled with lies and manipulation. This is the world of Satan, a world of, an illusionary world, a world filled with illusions. Fake people pretend to be happy all the time. This is that world, this is the world we live in, where hell looks beautiful on the outside, while heaven looks normal. Heaven looks normal and boring. Hell looks beautiful and exciting. But just because the devils in hell are jumping around, smiling and laughing, does not mean they're happy. If you try to behave like the devils in hell, just because, they look happy on the outside, guess what? When you go towards it, you start realizing through the depression and stress, coming from your very being, from your very essence, that hey, maybe they're not as happy as I think they are. If I'm miserable doing what they're doing, and they look happy doing it, maybe they're not as happy as I think they are. Maybe it's just an illusion. That's what you need to be careful of. No one wants to, no one wants to be seen as the most depressive person in the world, so they pretend to be happy. That's how life works. No one wants to be seen as that depressive loser, as that depressed loser. Nobody wants to be seen as that person, because nobody wants to be seen as that depressed loser. Everyone must put up a fake smile in society. This is how society works. Society, rewards you for being fake. You get rewarded for pretending to be a kind, happy person. You don't get rewarded for being a normal person. You get rewarded for being fake. That's why everyone around you is fake. You get rewarded for being fake. People automatically assume you're the perfect person as long as you put on a happy smile. No matter how depressed you are, no matter how stressful your life is, your boss always wants you to come to your job looking happy and positive, even when you're depressed. This is how life works. Satan always looks, Satan will always paint the perfect picture for you. But just because the picture looks perfect does not mean it is. That's the greatest scam looks perfect. That's how scams work. If the scam doesn't look perfect on the outside, you will never fall for it. If the scam doesn't look too good to be true, you will never fall for it. That's how life works. And that's why, you will never be rewarded for being a fake person. You're behaving like Satan. You're pretending to like something you don't like. You are behaving just like Satan does. When Satan wants to scam you, he tricks you into thinking that something that is bad, is perfect. It tricks you into thinking you're going towards a heavenly place. It tricks you into thinking you're going towards a heavenly place. But when you start going towards that path, you start feeling depressed, anxious, stressed, that's a sign that you're going towards the wrong path in life. These emotions are signs. There's no happiness in hell. There's no peace in hell. There's no love in hell. If you don't experience any of these emotions, you're not going towards heaven. It's a basic fact. God will not reward you for being evil. And God will not punish you for being kind. You will not be punished for being a good person. And you will not be rewarded for being a bad person. That's how life works. You will never be rewarded for being a bad person. And you will never be punished for being a good person. That's how life works. So if your life is filled with stress and anxiety, if your pastor in your life is filled with stress and anxiety, the problem is you're doing something wrong. Change your mindset. Change the way you behave. Change your choices. Stop being so money hungry. Stop trying to manipulate others. Stop trying to trick others. Stop trying to scam others. Stop pretending to like things you don't like. If you don't like something, tell people you don't like something. If you don't like someone, move away from that person. Find a way to escape that person's life. It's that easy. But it's also that hard. Life is not easy. But, we still have to live. Life is not easy, but you still have to live. But if you take the easy choice, the choice that is expected by your parents and family members, that's the easy choice, At the beginning of the choice, they'll tell you, hey, you did a good job. But as you follow along that path, you slowly start to realize you were set up. Your life is miserable now. All the praises you gained at the beginning no longer matters because now your life is miserable and you don't know how to get out of it. They praise you for being a perfect citizen, but you became a perfect citizen not because you liked what you were doing, but because you forced yourself. You forced yourself into a dead end job. You could have taken your time to find the perfect job for you, but you forced yourself into a dead end job just so that your parents could say, "Hey, that's a stable. I have a stable child now. My child is living a perfect life." And now a few months later, you want to quit so badly. Your life is miserable now because you hate that job so much. You hate it so much every time you go to work. You feel like committing suicide. You hate it so much every time you go to work. You feel like killing every single person. You feel like punching them in the face that you come across. Every person in that job just makes you feel like punching them in the face. But here you are still at that dead end job because you don't want to betray your parents. You don't want your parents to look down on you. You don't want your family members to look down on you. And now you're miserable. You're going towards hell. The road to hell looks easy. And the road to heaven looks hard. And that's the principle of life. The road to hell looks easy. Just like Adam and Eve. It was hard for Eve to say no to the serpent. When the serpent was trying to convince Eve to eat the fruit, it's saying no to the serpent, saying no to Satan was hard. When someone wants you to do something, it's hard to just tell them no, especially when they make such a convincing argument. And that's how Satan is. Satan is a very good scammer. It'll trick you into doing anything bad. It'll trick you into committing suicide. That's how good Satan is. It'll trick you into a world filled with misery. So, and it's hard to say no. When it's so easy to tell something, that's bad for you. But many people don't care, When they see the bad thing coming from a mile away, right? I'm not going to tell you to make, I'm not going to determine your choices. You still have to make choices in life. But it's so easy to see the bad thing coming from a mile away. When someone tells you to, get a job, right? And you just from the interview alone, or just from the description of the job, you already know you hate the job, but you take the job anyways. Why? Because you don't want to let your parents down. You don't want to let your family members down. It's so, it's almost impossible not to know that you're going towards hell. Like theft, murder, and all these. You can already tell from a mile away this is something you shouldn't be doing, but you still do it anyways. Just like Eve. Eve was already told this is what you shouldn't be doing, but she did it anyway. She ate the apple, all because Satan was way too convincing, and she just didn't want to let Satan down. Such a kind person. Satan came out of their own way to teach me, and I didn't want to let Satan down. Because you didn't want to let Satan down, you decided to follow what Satan was telling you to do. And and she bit that apple. And she paid the price for it, Same with Adam. He didn't want to let Eve down. Eve told him to eat the apple, and he didn't want to let Eve down. Why refuse a family member? When a family member tells you to do something, it's very hard to refuse it, isn't it? When a family member tells you to do something bad, or a friend tells you to do something bad, it is so hard to say no to them. Even, knowing full well this is something you regret doing, you still do it anyways. But guess what? If you do these things that seem so good to do, or it seems so, not good, that seems so bad to do, but you have to do it anyways because your family members want you to do it, or your friends want you to do it, or society wants you to do it, or the government wants you to do it. It's bad for you. You do it anyways. Guess what? You're not going to experience a single amount of heaven doing it. You're not going to experience happiness doing it. You're going to be miserable. The longer you do it, the worse your life becomes. The longer you do, you pretend to like something you don't like, the worse your life becomes. The more you fake things in life, the worse your life becomes. God hates fake people. God hates manipulative people. And a fake person is a very, very manipulative person. It is, that person is, you're manipulating people into thinking you're happy. You're manipulating people into thinking you like them. You're manipulating your boss into thinking you like the job when you don't. You're manipulating your coworkers into thinking you like working there when you don't. By staying at that job, you're telling them that you like working there. So because if you tell them that you like working there, don't come back in the future and try to kill everyone, because everyone thinks you like it there. You trick them into thinking you like it there. Now they think you like being abused on a daily basis. Your lover thinks you like it there. Your abusive spouse thinks the reason you're in that relationship is because you like it there. Because you keep staying there. If you keep staying in the relationship, obviously he's doing something right. He's doing something right if he's abusing you. If your spouse is abusing you and you're still in that relationship, it automatically tells him he's doing something right. He should continue doing it. Because you didn't leave, you're automatically telling him you're doing something right. Or you're telling her you're doing something right. That's how life works. If you pretend to like something you don't like, you're manipulating the people around you into thinking you like something. And manipulation is evil. Pretending to like something you don't like is evil. Pretending to smile when you're not happy is evil. You're tricking people into thinking sinning is good. If you're a thief that kills someone for money and start smiling, pretending you like having money because after you've done after all the bad things you've done, you're stuck with money and now you're depressed. But you don't want everyone to mock you for being a fool who wasted all their time and energy stealing from people, ruining their life, ruining your life. You spend all that time and energy ruining your life. All you have is money. You're not a miserable person. Why wouldn't you smile? You don't want to be mocked for being a fool. You don't want to be mocked for being a depressed fool with money. You have to pick, smile in front of everyone to pretend, make sure they think you're happy. You have to make sure they think you're happy. Otherwise, they'll start mocking you for being a fool. Since you don't want to be a fool, you start pretending to be happy. But because you keep pretending to be happy, guess what? It makes other people think, that in order for me to be happy, right, I have to be just like you, the fool. I have to steal, rob, scam, and deceive others for money. So your fake pretentiousness is only doing what? Making more people more corrupt. Making people more corrupt. Because they see you, looking happy, and they think you're happy. Not knowing you're miserable, and you're only pretending to be happy because you don't want to be mocked. You don't want to be insulted by others for being the fool. The depressed fool with money. You don't want to be mocked for being the depressed fool with money. You pretend to be happy in front of others. And now everyone thinks you're happy. Even the people that would have helped you, right? The people that would have helped you and changed your life, because you look so happy, they no longer want to help you. That's how life works. You're drawing away by pretending to be happy, you're pushing away all the good people in your life because they're no longer, the kind people who will help you. You've pushed them away. Now they're no longer there to help you. Now you're stuck in your misery. And now, not only are you, influencing people to doing bad things just like you, because hey, you look happy, right? You're influencing people to do bad things just like you because you look happy from afar. From afar, you look happy. So now people, will behave just like you. The younger generation will start behaving just like you without realizing that. That's the road to depression. Because you pretend to be happy, right? Other people now start looking at you as a rich, happy, and successful person without realizing that behind the scenes, you're an extremely miserable person who's only 2 steps from hell, only 2 steps from killing themselves, only 2 steps from suicide. You're just a few inches away from killing yourself. Yet from outside, you don't want anyone to mock you for being a fool, for being a depressed fool with money. You have millions or billions of dollars, but you don't want anyone to mock you for being that depressed fool. So you have to put on that happy smile, that fake smile of happiness. you know, tricking people into thinking you're happy, and also tricking the people who would have helped you, overcome your depression. All the people in life who could have helped you overcome your depression, you've pushed them away. You've unknowingly pushed them away because now they think you're happy. If they think you're happy, why should they help you? You're a happy person. They should help those who are depressed. So they go towards the people who are depressed, and they leave you to your misery. You get left alone to your own misery because you don't want to admit that, yes, I wasted all my time chasing money. I did all these evil things chasing money, and all I have left is money and no happiness. All I have left is hell and no heaven. I have a lot of money, but yet here I am depressed. What's the point of money if you're depressed? What's the point of money if all that means depression? There's no point. If you don't chase money, if you don't use honest means to get your money, you will never be happy with it. That's just how life works. The only thing you'll be capable of doing is pretending to be happy. That's all that's left for you. You're so rich that the only thing you can buy are fake products. You're so rich, the only thing you can buy is fake happiness. That's how rich you are. You're so rich that the only thing you can buy is fake happiness. So you have to be careful when you chase money. If you chase money using honest means, you'll be happy with the money. If you chase money using evil and crooked means, there's no happiness for you. The world does not, God does not reward you for being evil. You will never be rewarded for being evil. You can only be like Satan, pretending to be happy while you're miserable. That's how Satan is. He doesn't experience a single amount of joy in this world. He can only pretend to be happy. And that's all he's stuck with. Fake happiness. That's all he has is fake happiness. So if you sell your soul to the devil, and selling your soul to the devil isn't, many people think selling your soul to the devil is, some sort of ritual. You're wrong. The word Satan means the adversary. Satan is your adversary. Satan is your adversary, your personal adversary. He's that part of you that tells you, yes, it's easier. Isn't it easier just to do a bad thing? That's Satan right there. If you see something that you know is evil, right, and you do it anyways, that's exactly what selling your soul to the devil is. If you know something is evil and you do it anyways, you've just sold a part of your soul to the devil. That's what selling your soul to the devil is. You don't have to do any ritual. It is that easy to sell your soul to the devil. It is that easy. That easy. So that's it for today's podcast episode. I'll talk to you guys later.